Greetings, welcome to Caribbean Vanguard. I have a short one today, but this one is a bit fire. Because you know what? It is necessary. The state of the Africans globally, we are behind by far. Go to the different Caribbean islands. We don't own the banks. We don't own the hotels, the things that really make the money. Education, we don't control none of that. You know, I had someone tell me some time back. They said, if there's already a skyscraper over here with tables and chairs and everything, why build your own? It's fine if you want to help your neighbors build, but I want to build my own house as well. But that's not the real issue here. The issue is not that this person wants to go and sit in another person's skyscraper and neglect the building for our children and children, so that everything they see that is of power does not come from another people. So my problem though with the person or people who think like this is the fact that they don't only go and sit, they want to recruit others. They want to recruit from your army to be like them, because misery like company. It's like once they get invested there, they realize that it was a pretty gravesite and you're on a hamster wheel and you're going to keep running, and it is cold-blooded over there. Some don't see that. Some just, see the goodness and just don't believe in themselves. So in other words, because they don't want to build, they don't want nobody else to build. They talk about identity. As a matter of fact, I want to share a video with you. I want you to watch this video by Tony Robbins, who is known to be a very successful entrepreneur, and what he have to say about identity.
I think it's important to understand how powerful this piece is. It can be used as a weapon to separate people. You're one of those. That's often what happens politically in the world we're in today. No matter what, right, left, center, it doesn't matter. But the point is, why would we use words to limit us when we can expand our spirits, our hearts, and our souls by expanding our identity, not limiting ourselves in some way? Our identity is more powerful than even the truth. Your beliefs about people shape your relationships with them. And then your beliefs, of course, about yourself are the most powerful of all. So this is an area that deserves taking the time to think, really looking at all the consequences of identity, and also understanding it's the controlling force in your life. So it's controlling decision-making. It's controlling your perceptions of yourself. It's controlling perceptions of others. And here's one more thing it controls: how far you grow or fall. Have you ever felt like things got so below your own standard that something and you kicked on and said, this is changing now. Now, the minute, not an hour, I'm doing this now. I'm sure you have. And what happens is the heaters kick on, the drive to get back to where you think your basic identity is. And people do that. They get off drive and suddenly they're pushed and they find the way and they'll usually get there. Or they adjust to a lower identity. And that's what some people do over and over throughout their life. And that's why they're so disappointed. And they have a reason, because somebody betrayed them, because this happened, because something happened in the economy. And all those things probably really did happen. But it was really the drop in identity, because once it's your identity, you find the way. But think of it this way. If things get bad enough, you get this drive to get back to your identity. Not your goals, your identity, right? Your musts. Your must is who you think you are. If all of a sudden you start doing better than you dreamed of, you work harder, you get some breakthroughs, you get some insights, and now emotionally, psychologically, financially, physically, your career, whatever, goes from 68 degrees to 78 to 88 to 90, 99 degrees, around 99 degrees, something happens in your brain, goes, hey, what are you doing? You're a 68 degree, or what are you doing here at 99? You don't belong here. And then what happens? The heaters of drive stop. And if that's not enough, the air conditioners kick in, you start saying things that mess up the relationship. You start sabotaging things in the business. You start sleeping in until you get right back to where you need to be. So I want to just set up for you how important identity is. And throughout your life, my bet is you've had moments that have redefined you. They may have redefined you for a greater sense of who you are and what you're capable of, your spirit and your soul and what you're sharing, or they may have created more limitations because it didn't work out or you didn't do the right thing over and over. And then finally, you don't want to feel bad about yourself, so you created an identity that was less than.
Okay. So now Tony said a lot of things that was great. It's true. I agree with him 100%. The thing about it is this. everyone does not grow up seeing the same things or have the same outlook on life from early on. When he grew up, and we have to keep that in mind, because when you go to the doctor, everyone is not prescribed the same medication. One medication don't fix everything. You're going to get someone who have schizophrenia, some type of mental disorder. Psychologist is going to dig into that person's specific issue, deal with that person specifically. Unless it was a major event that affect a bunch of people, then you have a more generic dressed. However, some people may require follow-up counseling sessions, and some may get out of it faster than others. However, the ones who climb out of it sooner should not talk down on the ones who have slow recovery time. I said all that to say, your identity, as he mentioned, is shaped from your young, what you believe, and that comes from everything that you've been exposed to growing up. But one thing a lot of people don't talk about is the fact that your identity goes beyond the start of your life. Your identity should be deeply rooted. And when it's deeply rooted, it's harder for you to be uprooted. However, it should not be something that have you hang on to negativity. Your entire lineage, your entire identity, because remember, your parents can only teach you what they know. They have been exposed to certain things, and their grandfathers have been exposed to certain things. With that in mind, back in the 1930s, our ancestors seem to have been doing much better than we are doing today. They were building their own skyscraper, and other people saw them, other people got jealous. I'm talking about in different parts of the world, and decided to either attack, break these things down. And when they realized that our ancestors were basically like ants, they're always working and they build. You break them down and they start building again. They infiltrate and decided, hey, we are here to help. And I'm not a religious, spiritual person, but there's a verse in the Bible that talk about it. A matter of fact, this is it right here. These men knew well enough to know that they needed to do it themselves. Nothing against other people, but if these other people really respect you because they know the importance of you building yourself back up so that the youths can see that. But the other way is us educating ourselves on going to school, sending the kids off to school. Nothing wrong with school, taking the knowledge, but when we send these kids off, they must have a deeply rooted sense of identity and pride and bring that knowledge back to the community to help build the community. Now, many of us run away and go live in somebody else's skyscraper, and we say we don't want to go back because medical is not good there. I can't do this. So we basically abandon the place. And then now you have the government reaching out to foreigners who bring money into the economy, and those foreigners end up buying up the land, and then you decide to travel back and get mad when you see that Uncle Mac shop that he had down the road for so many years while you were kids is shut down because he passed away. The kids ain't pick up on it, the kids just move away, and now they have somebody else totally taking over, who is not of your culture, who does not respect your culture and does not respect your ancestors either. So with the folks who decide to go and basically stay away and don't connect, you should not be recruiting, trying to recruit, right? You should not be trying to recruit. And we got to understand that image is important. So what the kids see is important. These kids need to see us. The kids need to see African love. The kids need to see us in the magazines, right? Not magazines, everything controlled by other people, but we got to do our own and free up the minds of the kids, right? It's not a Moses creating a Marcus Garvey, anything like that. It's freeing up all the youths, the minds of all the youths. I know politicians want to control certain youth, some of them, and we have people who on the streets wants to keep some of these youths under their wing and stuff forth. But we have to send off so many free minds, but these minds, their heart and spirit needs to still be connected to us. I was talking to a sister the other day, and she have a son. Her son is 18, 17 year old. He's probably about Some probably about 5'11", dark-skinned brother, handsome brother, who said he don't like himself. He wish he was lighter. I'm not saying other people don't have these type of stuff, but that right there is deeply rooted. Other people may just feel that way, but it's not deeply rooted on no historical event and things that build around it. The fact that everything he see that is successful is not like him. The fact that he see that every great person of his community who is of his culture, other Africans, is subservient to others, all these stuff messes with his mental state. So we need to not take these things lightly. This stuff where these guys killing each other in our neighborhoods and stuff, we should not take these lightly. A lot of us feel like the war is over, but as long as you are living survival, the war of survival continues forever. We don't live back in those days, but today we have a different war. Because many of us feel like it's over. Many of us already wave a white flag and we just want to drink, eat, and you ask somebody, what's your purpose in life? And you know what most people say? Make sure my kids are good, make sure my family is good, and then they're going to throw out some generic stuff. If it's okay to have sense, pride in nationality, it's okay to have pride in your race, in your people. It doesn't mean you don't like other people. We are behind. We can't run at the same pace as everybody else. We have to do some extra curriculum. We got to do some extra work as a people. Right? Because what happened, it seems like we just try to do what everybody else is doing. But they are miles ahead. They did not have the disruption that we have. No? Because think about this. If you have 1,000 people, just an example, 800 of those people were killed. And you have 200 left. But their identity, their culture will not erase. Those people can raise another 800 people and they can go easily. But it's a lot different when you have 1,000 people, kill 800, and the 200 that's left, their mind, their memory bank have been wiped clean. But it's not time to argue about we are Hebrew Israelite and we in this and we in that. Those things does not prevent us from being successful. The thing is to have an agreement in the direction that we are going and have a love and respect for each other. Right? We already know we connected to Africa. We know that. And many of them reach out to us. So why not just adapt that, use the knowledge we have and the privilege we have, and start building? Just like the Asians, when they come to the US and different place, they help to build their homeland. But the thing is, you can't neglect your country though. We have to first come into our country and build that up and then build out. We could sure engage in Africa and our country at the same time, but we cannot neglect our country. But we can walk and chew at the same time. I'm connecting with brothers and sisters, and honestly, I'm not trying to twist nobody's hand. I would just like to connect to some real brothers and sisters who really wants to see this thing change. It don't have to be a lot of us, for real. We see what's going on. Who owns the bank down the road or in town? Who owns all the ships that's coming in? Who owns the port? Who owns your port? Who owns your school? Who controls the curriculum? Yes, your government is the figurehead or the face, but he got to take orders from where though? He can't make major decision by himself. And it will be great for the countries. Caribbean is so tiny. Jamaica is what? 4,000 square miles? Haiti is 10,000 square miles? Tiny countries. And it's okay to maintain the little uniqueness we have in the cultures. But we got to remember, if you got to go back to the war of Demerara War in Guyana, when those people were caught and some was hanged and dealt with publicly, many of them were taken and moved to other countries. They move them around. So your people were spread throughout the Caribbean. And it's good that we're able to come together and party and wave our flag, but we need to, economically, we need to just open the floodgates for these youths. But there need to be a strong sense of identity. It's something we have to do for ourselves. We have to fix us. Men, we have to fix us. We need to do our part. There's no reason why Marcus Garvey and those guys was able to do so much back then, and today we just chilling. I went home one time, and I saw the youths just sitting there. I saw the youths sitting there. Nobody could mentor them. And when I look at the older guys, dudes drunk and all type of stuff. They ain't got nothing to teach the youths. Nothing. And they get up on, I'm not knocking them, because my thing is to try to help where I can with them. I'm not trying to be a leader. I'm trying to be one of many leaders. As when somebody drop and take a knee or whatever, others got to be able to pick it up and run. But we got to respect our elders. The youths after us have to respect us too. But we also have to respect the ancestors. So the youths need to see that we have great respect for the ancestors, not just the ones who came about since we got independence or since we were under British, French, or Spanish rule. Like I've seen with some of these heroes Remembrance Day and stuff, where they would talk about only leaders who was in place since they got a government, but not even a sentence for the ones whose names are unknown, who made it possible for them to have whatever position they have. And that is why we are where we are. If you look at every other group of people, they respect their ancestors who they did not know. They respect them. They show great respect to them. We don't need to do it because of them, but we need to do it because other people do it. But we need to do it because we really mean it. I mean that. So we're great folks in Trinidad, Vincent, Grenada, all over to have like God grabbing a hold of our youth's minds and understand that our situation is different. We can't just go and sit down in some type of symposium and listen to a brief that is given by someone who may be of a whole different culture and think that fits perfect with us. It's not going to. And that is why we are so disconnected from the youths. That is why so many youths killing up each other and stuff, because we try to go and push some stuff to them, and these kids are smart enough to know that it is garbage. They're smart enough to know that it is garbage. And this is not a religious thing. Whether you are whatever religion you are as an African, we should be able to get together on the same page of rebuilding, doing business internationally, connecting with Africa. Right now you have all the major countries scrambling for Africa. All the major countries scrambling for Africa. Where are the Caribbean? When leaders in Africa has opened their arms up and said, the diaspora, you are children of Africa. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what outside forces think. If the internal is strong, if we are deeply connected, you don't have to have the technology, you don't have to have the resources as others, but have that strong ideology, the strong rooted identity, so that someone can't just come and say something about Curtis over here or Jack. Someone can't just say something crazy about them and we get on board and start bashing. You know better than that. But anyway, everyone is recruiting, right? There are people who want to play on both. I see people say support black business, support African business, but does that business support the people? What does it matter if that business does not support the people? And if that person is married outside of the community, talking about Africans, and then talking about they have an African business that is focused towards African people, then how is it they're making money and taking the money to support something else that is not of Africa? We really need to draw some lines. If we continue to let people take everything that they don't want and throw it on our table and we accept it simply because we want to be accepted, or we don't have rules, we don't have some type of common common understanding, and we're going to continue to be behind. And again, we can't be going after the people. 2/3 of our people are gone. In the adult section, I would say like 7/8 of our people are done mentally. It doesn't even make sense to talk to them, to have a conversation with them. We are up against others with the recruitment. We do not have the tools and the technology, but what we have is direct access to the youths. That's the one thing we have over any other. People can come and do a survey 200 people and decide how people should operate, social interaction and all that stuff. But if you are the one living in the community, your assessment will be much better if we are honest with ourselves. So we can't be selfish. We got to think about tomorrow. A lot of us don't want to become a part of a project if we're not going to reap fruit in our lifetime. But we need to be thinking miles down the road as well. Plant fruits where we can reap the benefit in our lifetime, and also for future generation to reap the benefit. Go to China, the Chinese are running things over there. You go to Europe, the Europeans are running things over there. Go to the US, the Europeans are running things over there. You go to the Caribbean, everybody else is running things except us in the Caribbean. But are we just like dumb? Don't we have the capability? We totally do. And I understand some people giving up. Some people have totally given up and have said, man, our people is a waste. And I understand the frustration. But it's about quality, it's about quality over quantity. Rest in peace, Black Stalin. This brother have some very deep songs. I posted some of them on my YouTube. You should take a look at them. Right? The message is already out there. Our ancestors has given us the blueprint. They have given us the instructions on what need to happen. Some of what they said is not relevant to today, right? But that doesn't mean that there are not stuff that's relevant. They had stuff that told us what direction we need to go. So I'm not feeling nothing out of my own head. Whatever I'm saying, I'm listening to different people, and I'm not neglecting information from no one, no matter their racial background, no matter their nationality, no matter. I'm getting information from different places, right? And see what is necessary for us. And it would be great to have others who may pick up on things that I don't pick up on and put it to the table, have an impact in your community. Hopefully, eventually, we can meet each other. Many of us not going to meet each other, right? But the thing is, eventually, whatever work we do, we'll meet each other. Maybe 200 years, 300 years from now, somebody I impact and you impact, they will meet each other.